I for one see a turnaround for the Vancouver Canucks. I do think that this is not what they're going to be. Like, they're currently, I believe, in a playoff spot, and I think that they're going to continue to get better. There's been drama around this team for, it feels like the whole season. But I do think that they are going to move past this. A lot of teams do go through stupid stuff like this, and they're not going to be the last one. Now, Elias Pettersson, they touched on essentially his GM's comments. I don't know if you guys heard. I did a video on the GM's comments. Essentially, he was alluding to the fact that, a reporter asked him, is it impossible to trade Elias Pettersson? Is it a possibility? And the Vancouver Canucks GM was essentially like, nothing is impossible, which, is pretty spicy. Now, you can take that a couple of different ways. You can take that as a general manager that's just trying to light a fire under a young guy. That very well is possible. That's what's happening. Or you can take that as genuinely true. Honestly, I take it as genuinely true personally, because we always talk like, I would never trade that player, or I would never trade this player. It depends. What are you offering? I would trade anybody. The problem with trading an Elias Pettersson, and I've said this before, is that you're not going to get equal value, right? That's the biggest problem with trading a stud center like him, right? You just don't get... Who do you think is going to be the best player in the trade, right? It's not going to be... Elias Pettersson is going to be the best player in the trade, more than likely. So that's why, generally speaking, I am against it. Elias Pettersson commented saying, I know that I can do better, and I will be the first to say it. So, again, accountability from the young man is good, but now we're going to have to see it on the ice. He has not had the season that I was expecting. After the past 2 seasons, above a point per game, and then 2 seasons ago with over 100 points, I was expecting a little more, and he hasn't lived up to that $11.5 million contract that he did sign, right? He just has not. He just needs to be better. There's just no doubt about it. Pettersson also did reiterate that he isn't even thinking about a trade and that he wants to stay with the Vancouver Canucks. Again, this is all really good news. I don't know if you guys are Vancouver Canucks fans. Again, if you disagree with me or agree with me, whatever, drop your comments below. If you're Vancouver Canucks fans and you're saying, I want him traded, I want to know for what, right? Because a lot of people spout this stuff, but they really just say, we want him traded. Well, for what, right? How are you going to make the Vancouver Canucks better? Or different, but the same, or better and different. Do you understand what I mean? You don't want to get worse, right? Especially with a team that is growing. I think the Vancouver Canucks have done a decent job over the last number of years collecting players that are difference makers. Like Quinn Hughes is a legit superstar. Like, he is so good, right? And they've done a really good job. I'm not saying you got to trade Quinn Hughes. I'm just saying that when you get a collection of players like this together, you don't just want to move on from them. You really, really got to be careful. You don't want to make panic trades. Now, here's the thing. When the New York Rangers, they made their trade for Jacob Trouba, I'm not even saying that trading Jacob Trouba was a bad decision. I actually didn't mind that. I'm against teams making panic decisions, generally speaking, because it usually leads to terrible decisions, unless you just fluke into a good deal. So if you're just, we have locker room drama, and then you just trade Elias Pettersson, it's like, yeah, for who? You're just trading a number one center for who, right? Like, listen, I get the criticisms of Elias Pettersson. He does seem like a little bit of a, I don't know. I call him a head case. Some people describe it differently. Some people disagree with me. I'm going to stand by that. He just seems like that to me. He seems like his issues with social media. He does seem a little bit pampered. I guess that's the logic that I would use. I understand the criticisms of him. People are going to comment on this and they're going to criticize, and they're actually not going to be completely wrong about that. Again, to touch on the general manager's comments, in my opinion, I do genuinely think he was just trying to light a fire under Elias Pettersson. All right. I don't think Alvin's comments were, but it was pretty spicy, though, what he said. You usually don't hear that stuff from GMs. They usually try to keep it in-house, so it was interesting, right? Now, Elias Pettersson currently is sidelined with an injury. He is doubtful to play today against the Vancouver Canucks. So, again, it's not like a serious thing. I believe it was an undisclosed injury as well. I mean, I don't know. The NHL teams love not disclosing anything. So, here we are, just playing the guessing game. It's kind of like Matthews' injury. I mean, pretty much everybody knows it's a back at this point, but they just refuse to say anything. That's how NHL teams are. But again, I'm going to be expecting a lot better from Elias Pettersson. He needs to continue to stay off of social media, if social media does bother him, that is. And he needs to get out there and he needs to produce. He needs to, just produce and forget all the nonsense. He needs to find a way to have a working relationship with JT Miller. Again, they don't have to like each other. They just have to work together, right? That's what they have to do. I mean, I'm sure everybody that's listening to this, you guys have all had workplace relationships with people that you were like, man, I'm not a huge fan of that guy, but you just, you know what I mean? It's just, you just don't create drama. You have to be professional. And this is what you expect from a guy that's getting paid $11.5 million. Let's be clear here. I mean, come on. I mean, again, Elias Pettersson is on pace right now for 67 points. There is valid criticism there, okay? Yes, I know he's a center, and centers are always going to get paid more, I get it. But after signing that $11+ million contract, you need more than 67 points. Like, it's just, if anybody is disagreeing with that, they're delusional. Like, you need him to be at least a point-per-game center throughout his career with the Canucks. It's just simply unacceptable. And listen, I'd be saying the same thing if William Nylander was on pace for, 67 points. I'd be like, okay, buddy, you got to do a lot better than that. So again, there's valid criticism there. I'm expecting a lot more from Elias Pettersson, for sure. I mean, currently they are sitting, I believe, 7 points behind the Oilers. I'm expecting them to get that playoff spot below the Oilers, so I wouldn't worry about that too much there. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to have a bit of a tough first round matchup, but hey man, it's the NHL playoffs. You never know. All you need is your stars to go off, your goalies to make some saves, and you never know what's going to happen. The NHL playoffs are wild, which is why they are the best playoffs in pro sports, in my opinion. Anyways, I'm going to leave the video there on Elias Pettersson's comments. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated, and make sure to have a great day, guys. Goodbye.